Beauty and birth defects. How chemicals in your cosmetics can harm your baby. Every day, we are exposed to thousands of different chemicals from personal use products that are banned elsewhere in the world. Like an ancient Greek alchemist, people today can find themselves surrounded by chemicals. A major source of this exposure is cosmetics. Many women, and some men, wear cosmetics every day and may be totally unaware of the chemicals in them. Of particular concern is a group of chemicals called phthalates. This chemical, spelled P-H-T-H-A-L-A-T-E-S, has been shown to cause birth defects in children. So what are phthalates, and how are people exposed to them? Phthalates are plasticizers, meaning that they increase the bendability or elasticity of a substance. This property makes them useful for a large variety of industrial purposes. Phthalates were originally used for commercial products, particularly in polyvinyl chloride, a chemical you may know as PVC, just like the pipes. These chemicals first came to attention when the National Toxicology Program noticed that blood stored in plastic PVC bags tended to accumulate this odd chemical. This discovery in the 1960s prompted study of phthalates, and they have been under scrutiny ever since. Alright, all this talk of phthalates, what do they actually do? Sadly, the harm from phthalates isn't often to the person using the products, but instead is passed to the fetus. Most people know that mothers can pass what they eat to their children. What's less well known is that mothers pass on many of the chemicals that they come into contact with on a daily basis. A recent study showed that the average baby has around 200 artificial chemicals in their body at birth. That means that in utero, the baby had 200 chemicals circulating in their body, affecting their development. It's well documented how strongly some chemicals can affect a child's development, and phthalates are suspected to be part of this group. So far, the evidence for phthalate harm comes mostly from animal studies. Rats exposed to phthalates have an increased risk of pretty serious fetal complications, focused around the reproductive system of the unborn rat. The health effects seem to be particularly bad for males. Newborn male rats exposed to phthalates in utero had several congenital abnormalities. These included testicular deformities such as undescended testicles, development of testicular cancer, failure to produce sperm, and penis developmental abnormalities. In case those aren't scary enough, other animal studies have indicated several other poor health outcomes. These include an increased incidence of cleft palate, skeletal malformations, leukemia, and even fetal death. The biological mechanism for these effects is not certain, but it's believed that phthalates behave similarly to endocrine disruptors, a class of chemicals that interfere with the natural actions of hormones. Phthalates have potential effects on the production of sexual and reproductive hormones, such as estrogen, which can alter the development of newborns. Because of all these health concerns, many phthalates are already classified by the EPA as probable and possible human carcinogens. Nowadays, phthalates aren't just found in plastic pipes and blood bags. They're a common ingredient in cosmetics, including fragrances, shampoos, nail polish, hairsprays, lotions, and insect repellents. This is the major routes by which people are exposed. Here are some major brand name products known to contain phthalates. As you can see, they come from a wide variety of brands from a wide variety of products. Recognize anything? Alright, all of this may seem pretty alarming. Are there any regulations on phthalates? Certainly the FDA does require the labeling of certain cosmetic ingredients, but phthalates often are grouped under other fragrances, so consumers can't identify when they're being exposed. There are standards for occupational exposure to phthalates, but many consumers may actually exceed this dosage through the use of cosmetics. What's more, in 2008, the Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act was enacted, prohibiting the sale of children's toys containing concentrations of more than 0.1% of certain phthalates. It's clear that some regulatory bodies are recognizing the danger of phthalates and moving to protect infants. But if baby toys can only contain 0.1% of phthalates, why do some cosmetics still contain up to 3%? Other industries have successfully required the labeling of phthalates in ingredients lists. For example, phthalates in nail polish are subject to federal labeling requirements and must be listed. Legislation like this suggests that consumers can lobby together to protect their health. So, what exactly can you do about it? First, perhaps the most obvious, is to cut back on cosmetics if you are pregnant or nursing. The more cosmetics you use, the more likely you are to be exposed. You can also learn more about phthalates and check your personal cosmetics products to reduce your use. Identify phthalates on the EPA website. A good hint is just checking for the word phthalate at the end of the chemical, like here, diethyl 2,6-naphthalate. Some phthalate-containing products only say other fragrance in the ingredients list, so just to be safe, if you're pregnant, try to avoid products with fragrances too. And if you're not pregnant, spread the word about phthalates to your family and friends. A second course of action is to reach out to government officials. Right now, the EPA, the FDA, and the Consumer Product Safety Commission are investigating the extent of exposure to phthalates and their health consequences. This information will be used to inform future regulations, possibly limiting phthalate use in cosmetics. So now is really the time to let your legislator know that this issue is important to you. Collective lobbying can help change laws to reduce the use of these chemicals in both industrial and consumer goods, and to require the labeling of phthalates. This can be done by calling the National Center for Toxicology Research at 870-543-7130 and tell them that you want to see better regulation of phthalates or, at the very least, better labeling of phthalate-containing products. The dangers of phthalates are clear, and the current regulations are worrisomely inadequate. Protect yourself, protect your newborns, and protect those close to you, and join in the fight against these unnatural chemicals.